We're figuring out how to sit in the stools, guys, and this guy is the one of the people we have to thank in part for some of our biggest guilty pleasures on TV. We're talking about the Bachelor Nation people. He is an executive producer, an author, a social media mogul, and a man of the hair. Please welcome Elan Gale. Good to have you here.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, right. Thank
you guys make great eye contact. Okay. I appreciate that.
We're excited to have you. That's why we're...
nice to be here. Nice to be here. We're talking. We're looking at each other. We're like, it's almost like nothing else is happening. It's just the three of us.
Tell me about this. The book. You're Not That Great, and neither is anyone else. I love the title.
Thank you.
This great idea. It's kind of flipping the head on making you. Everyone talks about how great you are. You're special. You've got something. You're kind of going the totally different direction, and it's like that negative energy you can actually use to spur you along. Explain, please.
Well, how everyone always, tells you that everything is going well and that you should just be happy with what you have and be happy with who you are. But those people are all wrong. The idea, because, here's the thing. If you're happy with who you are, that's great, if that really works for you. But if you want change, if you want progress, if you want anything in your life to be different from how it is, it's better to feel bad about your current situation in order to find out what you have to fix in order to change it.
It spurs you along.
Right.
If you're uncomfortable.
Have you ever gotten really angry in your life?
Yeah.
And when you're angry, don't you feel a certain kind of energy, and you could go running, or you could climb a mountain, or you could write a really angry email? But if you feel really comfortable, do you ever feel like you really should go do something, or do you just go oh, this is fine?
I'm never comfortable, so I totally relate to the whole book's message.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, because I just think if you're comfortable, then you're not gonna do better. You're just gonna, if you think everything's great, then you're just gonna not do anything and push yourself.
Well, I totally agree. Your whole life can always be better. It's not that it's not good. It can always be better. So rather than just being so satisfied and excited about who you are all the time, why don't you try hating yourself a little bit and going okay, so this is what's wrong with me, and I'm going to do my best to fix it. Mm-hmm. You can't fix. Can I say?
Yeah.
You can't fix stuff unless you know what the problem is.
Right. I appreciate that. And I like the idea, well, that's a whole nother, I don't want to get deeply philosophical. Keep going.
No,
we're going to in different ways.
There's something with your life that you want to talk about.
There is, and I feel like you're the guy to talk to about without these cameras on. So I can feel that there's an energy here that you'll relate to.
We'll go later.
Okay. Yeah, the whole point is you say that we need to stop downplaying what we want out of life. It isn't bad to say I want a nice car, I want the best job, the best partner, etc.
Right.
So you talk about this a lot, but what do you want?
Oh, that's really interesting. I want to be surprised all the time. I want to constantly do things that are interesting and bizarre, because life has a tendency, I think, no matter what you do with it, to get repetitive. It's just you get into patterns, and so trying to constantly break those patterns is what's interesting to me. And so, if I work hard or something, I can gain a little bit more freedom in order to kind of allow myself to be surprised more often and break out of routines. I think that's a good short-term goal. In the long term, I'd like to have a little cabin in Norway and sit around and write poetry and cook nasturtium leaf.
I love that.
That's what
I can see that perfectly
That's what
framed.
I want.
Yes.
Norway, Denmark, probably Denmark. But I would take Norway.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, I wouldn't settle. You know what I mean? I would say this is nice in Norway, and then I'd work harder to get a house in Denmark. Mm-hmm. I don't own a house anywhere right now.
Yeah, do you think, I feel like you're someone that would never settle and just relax into a really easy life, right?
Well, what's there to be happy about? You know what I mean? Nothing's that wonderful. Do you ever really feel like everything's perfect?
No, never.
Right, no.
But can it ever be? Right?
No,
it can't. It can't ever be perfect.
And that's not the point. That's the whole thing, is that life is not about being happy with what you have. Life is about desire. It's about want. It's about drive and passion and trying new. To me, that's what it's about. It's not about just enjoying what's in front of you. You can do that too. Look, here's the thing. People I'm passion shaming people. If you're happy with what you have, please don't read my book. It's not going to help you. It's not for you. It's for people that want more and are shamed into feeling like it's not okay to be unhappy.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying,
yeah.
and I think there's a lot of value in that. No doubt, because there is a pressure to stay within this box of pretending it's all buttoned up in every way.
Social media.
Especially social media. So
blast.
let's talk about this. In the book, you open up about a lot of personal things, including your weight and the fact that you lost your heaviest. You said, here was the quote. You said, it looked like someone squeezed me out of a Play-Doh container.
Yeah.
You say that you actually get the guy out. You learn to shame yourself.
Yep.
And so in an era where we're talking a lot about body shaming and not doing it, you're kind of taking a different approach. Yeah. Explain that a little bit.
Well, I'm very anti-shaming of others. To be clear, I want to go on record. But shaming yourself is really not a bad move. Because if you look at things you don't like about your body, like you know, and you don't like it, if you're able to kind of project the negative energy that you're feeling in, you can really find the reason to go work out. Like when I eat a big meal, I don't feel like content afterwards. I feel like disgusted with myself, like really, really disgusted. And then I yell at myself in my brain, and I go, "You're a stupid idiot, you big stupid idiot." And then
and away you go into another big.
And then I can go for a run, or I can go to the gym. If people can accept themselves, that's fine. I can't accept myself, nor do I think that's really a good goal. Like, you can always do better.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts.
I want to hear your thoughts.
I just also think that...
You seem connected to this stuff.
I know, I'm really connected to it. Well, I think there's different approaches to it. I agree with you because that will put you and that works for you. I also think, though, for some people, you have to learn how to be kinder to yourself. Because, for someone that's had, eating disorders, it's, hard if you are always you're terrible, you're disgusting, you're this, because then you are just down this rabbit hole.
Absolutely.
I love the two apapproaches.
Well, that's
I think some people, you have to be kind to yourself, but your approach works for you and it works for people that are, similar to you.
Well, I totally agree, and I think that's the thing. I think there's if you need motivation in a more standard way, and if you want to learn self-acceptance, there's an unbelievable amount of reference books out there for you. What there isn't that book for the other people, and that's what this is. This just fills that void. The truth is, it's probably somewhere in between, right? Somewhere between you are a badass and you're not that great, there's probably a good life to be lived. But you need this a little bit in order to find that balance.
Bring the balance, yeah.
I'm obsessed with all this. Okay, but we got to keep going with the interview. This is me asking.
No, I want to sit here forever on these uncomfortable chairs.
I do want to ask you, when we were talking about shaming, what do you make of the whole glam shaming fiasco that happened? And also, how would the rules of the book apply to dealing with a situation like that, where you're being shamed by someone else?
Well, listen, I think if somebody shames you, the first thing you can do is remember that it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks at all, right? So if someone shames you, you should dismiss them immediately. But if you take a minute then and decide that I'm going to take this moment and I'm going to reflect upon myself and I'm going to determine if I really believe that what they're saying is valid. And if there is, and I don't like the thing about myself that they're shaming, I'm going to change it for me, not for them, nothing to do with what they're talking about. But it's a good moment of kind of recalibration for yourself. But if you find things invalid, you say hey, that person's a piece of and then you move on with your life. You really do have to learn to dismiss the opinions of others. You really do. With glam shaming, should someone glam shame? That's a really interesting question. And I'm not sure I know the answer. But what I can say is that I think that when someone criticizes someone else, it's a good opportunity for all people involved to kind of readdress themselves and recalibrate. And that's actually a good thing. Constant reassessment is a good thing, I think.
I do too. I think what you're getting to, the heart of what you're saying in my mind, is this really ruthless self-examination.
Sure.
Right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Is there anything you're feeling not great about?
No, I like that. I like all
about you.
Yeah, no, of course there are things that there's always this reassessment of goals, reassessment of direction and what's next and things like that. I guess for me the balance is learning to be content in the present and have a level of contentment to enjoy the moment before it's gone, but also to be spurred to being better.
Are you happy with the life you have now?
Very happy with many parts of it.
And that's great. When you had the life you had before the life you had now, were you happy?
I had many things in mind, and some of them are now real that weren't real before.
Right, and won't that process continue on forward?
Yes!
Because if you get too happy right now, how will you get out of the happiness you have now?
Exactly
right.
It
has to continue.
Right, I don't think I'm very happy in general. Or do you consider yourself happy right now?
No.
No, okay.
Of course not.
I want to talk about this. You chose to go shirtless on the beach every day during the Bachelor season.
Speaking of being happy or not happy.
To force yourself to get into shape, though. So it was just an interesting thing that we learned about you. Who was in the cast at the time, and did they support you through all this?
I think the person that I spent the most time with was Nick Viall at the time. And he was great. I mean, that's the thing, is that I've found that most people don't like being around people who feel too good about themselves. I don't have that problem, right? I don't feel too good about myself. And so I think I think everyone knows they have flaws. And when you're around somebody that's willing to admit their flaws and willing to be open about what's wrong with them, I think that you end up just being more comfortable yourself. Like if you walk into a room and go like, I'm not that smart, I'm interested in your opinion, tell me about things so I can learn more. I have some ideas, but they may be good, let's talk about it. That's better than someone lecturing you, right? And so like a guy like Nick, who's in very good shape, and I go, I have these flaws, these are my flaws, you can see them. And then whatever flaws he might have don't feel like they need to be hidden anymore. So I think that's why the support, I feel like, is always available for you.
Kind of like vulnerability brings out more vulnerability, right?
We're
if you're
just
able to be
talking about
vulnerable,
that.
then you
and
can,
more comfort and more just like ease as a human being. Like we're so caught up in trying to pretend that we're wonderful when we're all really, really flawed. And it's so much more comfortable to live in a society and to surround yourself with people that go like, no, I don't like this about myself and I want to make some changes.
One thing that you made some changes about, you opened up about drinking previously. You would drink put down like a full bottle of vodka or tequila a day, that kind of thing. But you were high functioning, you were able to get through it.
Yeah.
But looking back on that, you decided to stop, and you say it wasn't even that difficult, right? Like you were able to just put it aside.
It was easy to stop physically drinking.
Yeah.
It was difficult to start living again as a person.
Right. And so, do you feel like that phase in the drinking, even though you were functioning and whatever, did it hold you back from moving forward in the ways that you wanted to?
Oh, yes.
It was
absolutely.
a major point of sort of the self-loathing type thing.
Well, yeah, because what it really does is it dulls everything.
Right.
It dulls the joy. It dulls the kind of like impact that every experience has. But it also dulls the pain, which is probably why I was drinking so
Driving
much.
factor,
Like,
right.
I had this like really deep pain, and the drinking helped me just get through it. So that's what I really mean, is that I put the alcohol aside. It wasn't hard to stop drinking. You just put your hands behind your back, right? At some point. No. What's hard is getting out of bed the next day sober and dealing with the pain. So that first month, I didn't really ever be like, I need a drink right now. What I felt was like, I don't want to be here in this physical body. I was escaping for so long, and now I'm present, and now I have to interact with the world fully, and I need to be there, and I need to feel it. And life is painful. It's really, really painful dealing with it, especially when you realize that you've thrown away a great deal of it, but just drinking alcohol and not feeling things. And you wake up one day and you go I'm going to be present for every single moment. Every single bad moment of my life, I have to be 100% there for. The trade-off is you're also there for the good ones.
Right.
So you have to decide at some point, and this is, I actually don't think that sobriety is for everyone. I'm not one of those guys that goes drinking in bed. Some people, it's actually a really nice thing. They can control it. I just couldn't control it. That's a personal problem. That's me. But I really feel like there is this thing where if you choose to live in a way where you're experiencing every single moment, the highs are great and the lows are useful.
Yeah, I like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. You have a lot of strong opinions. You're really passionate about them. Is there something you learned about yourself while writing this book? Maybe something you changed your opinion on something?
I think the thing I learned the most is that the fear never goes away, right? So when I decided I was going to write a book, that was really scary. I didn't think anyone was going to buy it. Then someone bought it. They're like, okay, here's when it's due. And I was I'm not sure I was going to get there. And then I finally turned it in, right? And I feel like I put every ounce of effort and energy into this thing. And then you put it out into the world, and then you're just completely engulfed in fear. That someone's not going to understand it, that someone's not going to get something out of it, that you're going to waste someone's time. That's my biggest fear, honestly. My biggest fear when I give someone the book, or when someone tells me to read the book, is that they won't get anything out of it, because what a waste of their time and time.
Well, let's say this. Even if they don't necessarily agree with everything, it's very entertaining.
Well, that's the thing.
You're at least entertained, right?
I tried to do that at least. But it's weird. I really feel passionate about this. I'm sure you can tell. I really care.
Yeah.
I really feel like everybody has this strong potential inside of them that's being masked. And I really think that the people that preach positivity I believe they're trying to help. I really do. I don't think that they're trying to stop people from being great. I just think they're not helping people move forward in the way that they can. And I don't know why, because I kind of come off as an but but I'm really a human, and I'm a humanist, and I really love people.
Yeah.
I love them, and I see things in them, and I want them to be wonderful, and I can see it, and I know that it's right there. And if they just let go for a second, they just let the vulnerabilities out, they'll be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that you really love and connect with people. This probably helps you on The Bachelor. How do you use that love that you have for people to then, get these stories out of people and tell the stories?
And this, honestly, I'm the same person no matter where I am. So that's something I learned in my many years of going through life, whether it be alcoholism or my mother's illness or my body issues and my body dysmorphia, is that just be the same wherever you are all the time. And the people that want to relate to you will, and the people that don't won't. And it's a lot easier that way. So the truth is that I'm just this person. And so how does it help me? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure that it does. I just know that this is who I am and how I relate to people. And hopefully people feel like they can be themselves near me.
I love it. And it kind of clears the clutter, clears the table of things, and it's
Right.
a lot more clear the relationships that are there are meant to be there, and the ones that aren't. It really it seems that when we're talking about Bachelor and the world of Bachelor, I picture you like the most amazing Uncle Elan that they could ever have. We've got all these couples that have had kids, right? Who do we have? Jaden Tanner, Carly Evans, Sean and Catherine. What kind of uncle are you? Are you in that role, first of all? And
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the weird uncle.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I'm the weird uncle.
Shocker.
No way.
You know what's weird? Kids love beards because they have a thing to grab onto.
And
they can pull. And I don't really have very sensitive follicles. You may not know that about me, but now now you do. So you can pull on my hair, and I don't notice it really.
Okay.
So kids love that. They have a great time. But really, more than anything, for me, when I think about those kids and those couples, I just think that's really cool because everyone wants a good love story. And those people have really, really, really cool love stories. And I love that.
Does having these kiddos around and playing through beard and everything make you think about your plan? And maybe
Yes, it makes me definitely know that I'm not ready for kids. Because after 8 to 10 minutes, I'm like, oh, man, where are those? Can someone hand me a bottle of Purell? Because I'm a germaphobe. And I think you have to shed
it's worse,
that.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
my God, right?
Worse
and I know because
yeah.
I look dirty, so that you wouldn't assume that. But I'm
you love laying around on the floor of the subway.
I look like I would. I just fell out of a tree.
Yeah.
But I love being clean. I'm very clean. If you smelled me, you would be very, very happy.
But kids someday.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely kid someday. I want to start with one, and then see how that one does. If it gets once it's 22, 23 and gets a good job,
then maybe
we'll see if number 2
clean this thing up. Okay, can't let you go quickly without asking some questions about the most dramatic Bachelor season ever. When this airs, the 2-night finale will be over. I know we're limited on some of the things we can talk about, but from your perspective, I just want to know, especially given what we saw in the finale, do you think that Arie was really ready to get married this entire time?
I honestly do. I really do. I've known Arie for a really long time. I've known him since he was on Emily's season, and I think that he's a romantic. I think he follows his heart, and I think even when it's hard, that's what everyone should do. Sometimes that's dramatic. So is life. Life's really, really dramatic.
Yeah.
I bet every single one of us could walk out of here, stand somewhere, and tell a story where we were sobbing somewhere in the middle of a street after a phone call, and we called a friend, and we went home, and then we texted an ex or something. That's life. That's just how things are. And I think the more passionate you are about relationships and the more passionate you are about love, the more ups and downs you'll have.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
All right. And one of our favorite sort of dramatic moments from this season was when Becca's ex showed up in Peru. My gosh, he seemed a little sidelined. What was your personal favorite moment from the season?
I'm a big fan of travel. And I think that's one of the greatest things that The Bachelor offers. It shows you a world into a lot of places that not many people are lucky enough to get to go.
And a lot of unknown country stars, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
I love them. I will say this, getting to shoot at Machu Picchu.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sure you guys saw that. It is one of the most magical places on earth. And I went there for the first time 5 years ago. And I never thought in a million years would be able to shoot there. And our team put together, with some local Peruvians, the most amazing itinerary. And shooting in Machu Picchu is I don't need to do anything else.
Yeah.
I'm done.
That's
it was
really
unbelievable. Have you been?
No, I want to go.
We need you to go.
All right, well, let's work it out.
We need you to go.
Let's get the Bachelor jet fired up, and away we go.
Yeah, so, okay. It's a little confusing for people that are on reality TV because when you go on The Bachelor, you have to think you're awesome, think you're worthy of like winning or whatever, but it kind of goes against what you say in your book. So, how could a Bachelor contestant use the advice that is in your book to then apply to being on the show?
Well, I mean, do you have to pretend that you're the right person? Like, don't most people in real life at the same time, like, actually have a game? Like, don't they really, like, find a way to, like, I'll tell you this, I have not been single for a long time. I don't plan to be single ever again. But when I was single, I did not put my best foot forward. That was not how I ever dated. I always was honest about my flaws and the things that are wrong with me. And it was really successful for me. Now, if people choose to do that, either on the show or elsewhere, they can. And they should. And, like this season, Becca M. for a while talked about how she wasn't sure she was ready in certain ways without the right person and so on. And that worked for her because that was who she was. So I think it's really more about just fully embracing the person you are and where you are in life. And I think that some people really believe that they have it together. And maybe they do. Maybe they do. I don't think anybody does.
Who do you think from this season has it together the most?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Actually has it.
Yeah. Cien.
Yeah, man, she's
Cien
great.
is someone who I talk to, and I feel like, man, I got to get my
Well, that played on the show, too. I think every time she talked, it was like, oh, whoa. And he even would say, Arie would even say, like, I don't know if I'm good enough for you.
I dropped out of college 3 times.
Okay,
so
comparing, just looking at the...
not so hot here.
Hey, thank you so much. This has been a very interesting, unique, and fulfilling conversation.
Is this normal for you?
No, not at all. Not in this room.
I usually don't have it where I want to like continue the conversation.
We're usually ready to get out of here.
I'm not leaving.
Guys, pick up a copy of You Are Not That Great right now.